This is another Packet Tracer video. My name's Aaron Strasser. This is 5.3.9.3 and we are backing up a Cisco router configuration to a TFTP server. So what we're going to do is save the current running configuration to the startup configuration and then we'll back it up to the server. So in this activity we're going to save the configuration of the 1841 ISR to a remote TFTP server. Backing up the configuration is important every time you set up a Cisco router, and having a backup allows you to perform rapid recovery after having any kind of hardware or configuration error. It's important to save the running configuration to the startup just so you can protect the configuration from being lost on a router reload whenever there's a power outage. And after you run the running configuration, or after you save it to the startup configuration, then it can be backed up to the TFTP server. So the local server is configured as a TFTP server that we are to use to store the configuration. Alright, so this local server right here is set up as the TFTP server. Alright, so from the customer, we're going to save the running configuration to the startup configuration. So from the customer PC, we're going to use the terminal to connect to the console of the customer Cisco 1841. The console cable's already there, so we should be good to go. So the password is Cisco on these. So once we get into privileged mode here, we can do a copy running -config space startup config . And it pops up with a question, just press enter to get it going. So that's saved. And then we're going to move on to backing it up to the startup configuration to the TFTP server. So let's test the connectivity on the TFTP server first. So to do that, we'll close our terminal, get a command prompt, and if we look at this, the IP address is 192.168.1.10. Whoops. So let's try that. So that looks good and connected. So then we're gonna go back to the terminal so we can copy this over. So from the customer router prompt, we are going to copy startup config TFTP address or name of remote host, put in the IP address, destination file name. We're not going to do anything, just going to press enter. So there you go. It wrote it over to there. It says OK, 995 bytes, copied in 0.07 seconds. And so let's go to the local server. And config tab, go down to TFTP. and we are looking for the customer router startup, and it's right there. So there's our customer router config in the TFTP server on this local server. So now we're going to test that this backup is going to work for us. So if we go into the customer router through the terminal again, and we are going to erase the startup config. Just asking if you're sure, so hit enter again, and it is complete. NVRAM has been erased, and that is that. So we're going to go ahead and reload the customer router with our backed up file. And go ahead and hit enter to confirm. So it's just decompressing the image and getting it transferred there. And so we want to answer no to this one. And we are back to this router. User exec mode here. So now we're going to configure the fast Ethernet interface for connectivity to the TFTP server and activate the serial interface. So first, all the way back, you'll notice there's no more passwords. So we are back into global configuration mode. FA fast Ethernet 0/0. IP address, then the subnet mask. No shutdown to bring it up. Make sure it's open. And then we're going to do the same thing to the serial. Just have the S in there for short. No shutdown for that one. So, and we're just looking at here, waiting for this amber light on the switch to turn green. There it goes. And then now we're going to ping the TFTP server. Oops. Actually, let's go to the terminal first. In that, so we're not going to ping it from command prompt, we're going to ping it from right here. So we got a success rate of 80%. I'm going to do it one more time because I probably didn't wait long enough for after I did the end. So there you go, 5 for 5. So now we're going to, we have connectivity with the TFTP server, so now we're going to copy that startup configuration that's stored on there back to the running configuration of the router. So we do copy TFTP running config. 168.1.10. File name was the one we found on the server, -confg. And so that has been copied over, and now we need to copy the restored running configuration to the NVRAM. To do that, we do copy running config startup config. So it goes back to the startup configuration. And now once we've done that, we are going to test the restored configuration by pinging the ISP server. So we have 100% there. So everything's been restored and works like it did. So just looking back at it, what are the consequences of reloading a router without saving the running configuration to the startup configuration? You'll just end up losing your data, having to start over again. And anytime there's a power loss, you will not have that. You will not have your setup how you had it. You'll have to redo it again. So you need to make sure to save that to your startup configuration. How is the backed up startup configuration used to recover from hardware failure? It's stored on a different server, the TFTP server, so then it's brought back and recovered, saved back to the running configuration, and then saved into the startup configuration to restore it to your Cisco 1841. And what command do you use to back up the startup configuration to the TFTP server? We did that by copy space startup dash config space TFTP. And then once you do that, the next line will have you input the IP address for that TFTP server. So that's about it. 5.3.9.3, backing up a Cisco router to a TFTP server. Thank you very much.